you're just joining us, this is Pan Means Business. I'm Joram Paul Sonko, and one of the few things you need to know about it is we are driving business. And how do we drive business is by meaning it as well. I'm Joram Paul Sonko, Facebook, Joram Paul Sonko, Twitter, Joram Paul Sonko, Instagram, Joram Paul Sonko. And we're heading into our topical discussion, that hour where we discuss these particular stories and bring them to life, discuss them with you as well, as we are definitely bringing them to life. Now, if you look at some of the stories that we've had, most probably with the first, and to that, we were most probably last month in August. Let's actually draw back. In August 2021, Ugandans actually received, I would not say shocking news, but it was a surprise for many of us who grew up knowing that Shoprite is the finest supermarket in the land and arguably one of the best supermarkets across Africa. We were most certain and crystal assured that when you go and shop from Shoprite, so back in the day, and during primary, when your parents come for visitation, or even during high school time, and someone sees that Kavera of Shoprite, they say, hey, they have brought for him some good food. So if you were to draw back in the day, Shoprite. So in August 2021, we've seen a number of companies in Uganda that had actually collapsed and went totally out of business. And if you're to look at the retail giant in Shoprite, then later on Game Uganda also said goodbye to the local market in Uganda. And not only in Uganda, Shoprite also said goodbye to the market in Madagascar, with 10 branches that were in Madagascar operating. And in Uganda, we had branches at Acacia Mall. We had branches in Benchuanuka, which is absolutely Benchuanuka Street. I think it is the oldest Shoprite branch there was. There is one in Lugogo Shopping Mall. There is one in Victoria Mall in Tebe. There is one at Forest Mall. And then probably there is the other at Arena Mall along Zambia Mestil Road. So clearly, that is the latest that was actually going to be reopened. That was going to be open, not reopened. So as we were waiting for the opening of the Shoprite branch at Arena Mall, to our many surprise, Shoprite closed business in Uganda. And why? According to the people who are actually running business with Shoprite, there was no longer business in Uganda. And that is most probably because the businessmen in Uganda are actually saying, most probably because most of, we've actually seen international markets leave Uganda. Let's look at AfriSale Uganda the same year. Smile left Uganda the same year. Game left the same year. And you know the reason as to why? Because if you look at the last 2 years, most of these companies have recorded more losses than the profits they were supposed to make. And they were having employees that they were paying, and they were having subscribers that were benefiting from them. So remember, when you're operating business for quite some time and you're not earning more money, and with the fact that most of the world's economy is struggling just because of COVID, you would agree that most of these businesses were bound to collapse because hopefully there was apparently no market for them. Now, if you look at the situation, Shoprite closed business and in August, and after that, Carrefour, which is a United Arab Emirates best retail operator, took over. And if you look at some of the branches, most probably one in Lugogo, all the brandings of Shoprite have already been shifted off. And now we have new brandings of Carrefour that are actually being branded all over the Lugogo Mall. So that means Shoprite is completely getting out of business in Uganda. So even other branches are also going to follow suit in that. Carrefour will actually change the branding, one from, if you look at the stalls, down to the colors of Carrefour. So that is one of those that are actually going to be distributed. Now, that will actually be changed. Now, one will ask, where does Carrefour come in from the business? Now, Carrefour is actually owned by Majid Al Fataim. Now, Majid Al Fataim is is actually trading under the brand Carrefour in Uganda, or Carrefour in Uganda. It's actually been in Uganda for for a period of 2 years, but now it's set to expand with the fact that it has 5 branches of Shoprite that it's going to be operating with. So it shows that there is greatly business. And as we are into our topical discussion, allow me kickstart off with Mr. Andrew Barije. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing very great, very great.
Now let's kickstart off from there. We have 45 claimants who have filed a case against Shoprite, saying that Shoprite has to pay their money worth 5.4 billion. Yes, 5.4 billion Ugandan shillings.
Yeah, this is and the question is, do they even have this money? That's the first question we should ask ourselves, because when you look at the profits they've been making for the past years have not been really good. They have been registering actually losses, only losses. So I'm trying to imagine 5.4 billion.
Maybe they have the money, you never know.
I don't think so.
You see, in most cases, because remember, it being, once you are a foreign investor,
yes,
and you come into a foreign market and you try to see that you set up business, maybe you come with a lot of money, you have that money and you're going to operate. That means by the time you leave, you have also got some money that you're living with.
Actually, one thing people need to know is that, you know, when you look at, let me give an example. You can see a hotel building somewhere and it's all looking this nice, but you'll be surprised that a day can go and when you check in the counter, the only money they've made is 10,000, and you'll be surprised. I'm talking that from a place of experience. So it's very possible for you to see Shoprite everywhere, but
because customers in,
but we don't look at the expenses. We always look at the earnings of someone, and we be like, oh, this person is earning too much money, and these people are grossing really big. Yes, that money is too little for them, but you just can't imagine the expenses and the fact that Uganda is in a state of awakening. The Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, which has led to an increased competition. Now imagine these guys have been silent for all these years, and finally the council is suppressed that, oh, the finances have not really been doing good. So I don't really think 5.4. Maybe they can be bailed out, because since they have a reputation as a brand, it's possible it could be a bank could come and bail them out with a loan, 5.4 billion. I mean, they can't clear that and time goes on.
But if we look at the situation, billion, man, we're now talking out, we're even out of a million. Some of us have not even touched 10 million shillings, and someone is asking for 5.4 out of the 45. And now most probably there is also the other issue here, that these particular employees have actually put Shoprite on pressure as well, to see that the new Carrefour that is going to take on Shoprite should actually also give them the job, that Shoprite should extend their contracts with Carrefour. I still don't know how that is going to be possible, because it's like when management is actually changing in a different company, and you as an employee or like the management that is leaving, please make sure the other person is going to give you a job.
Now, this is the thing. Recently, we saw AfriCell close business, but what AfriCell did, they put a notice warning the staff that starting September, I think they said
they gave them down, and like starting this month,
exactly,
we are closing business. So they gave them a full month of checking for new job
opportunities, which I don't think Shoprite did.
It was just abrupt. It was shocking.
It was very shocking, just abrupt from nowhere. And
you see, even on social media, everyone was like,
yes,
how come Shoprite? Of all companies. Because it has actually stood the test of time in Uganda. Very few companies.
Very few,
If we are to look at the companies that have actually stood the test of time in Uganda, you look at Shoprite, MTN, Coca-Cola, because Coca-Cola is obviously a brand. Maybe Pepsi Cola as well. A few companies. But, so I'm looking at only a few brands. Has Blue Band taken time in Uganda?
Blue Band, really,
Blue Band
has really a long time.
So you can see, we don't have a number of brands that have taken time. So most probably the others have actually just been here for a few years, maybe 10 to 15.
And I think the challenge being that Shoprite, in its essence, it came looking at a certain market, that's the corporate market. Now, for example, Blue Band could cater for all kinds of people. You could find a small pack at a certain price, which is not the case with Shoprite. I think that explains why Shoprite has not been able to stand the test of time, because in Uganda, it's all known that if you want to gross big, you should also target the lowest income earners, because they need to feel like, because Blue Band now, and actually, do you know that some people think that Blue Band is a Ugandan company?
Yeah, most probably. That is why even if someone finds a different brand in toothpaste, let's say toothpaste,
yes,
someone will call it Colgate.
Colgate.
And even if it is Delident or ABC or what,
they will still going to call it Colgate.
Just like when people find Prestige margarine and still say, I need that Blue Band Prestige. So,
perfect.
So that is the only challenge there.
Yeah. So you can see that what Blue Band has did, whereby we felt connected to it. If you feel if you can call margarine Blue Band, I can't even laugh at that person. I'm just.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
And I also expect when Carrefour comes in and starts operating, people will start saying, in most probably when people are directed, they'll tell you, it is supermarket yadam for Shoprite.
Perfect.
Katinga Jagambe, what is Shoprite? So still that name will still remain in people's minds.
Not really. That will depend. To me, I think it will depend on how, because they have left the country and there is this whole scandal of the 5.4 billion. So if they really want to have a long-lasting legacy in this country, despite them leaving, I mean, they should make sure that they sort every cases that they're going through, because I don't want, at the end of the day, it will end up like, oh, that company was a scam. You know how Ugandans, we take things to personal at times, which is okay.
Yeah, so true.
Because it's right. Let them sort these things, because they didn't give these people a warning before that they are going to close. It was, because the report says it was an abrupt termination of their contracts. At least they could be liable for a 3-month compensation, like 3 months being they are earning this, or let me say 4 months, the company is giving them money. But though their claim is that the contracts which Shoprite signed, they are claiming that they should have gotten a certain percentage of that contract. And that which wouldn't really matter so much, but what really matters is that were they given a short notice that we are closing, and another, is there any compensation? At least if they're not involved in that contract, at least let them be liable to an earning for the next 3 months as they are looking for opportunities. So if Shoprite closes like that, I don't really think we shall keep remembering Shoprite with such a scandal, in my opinion. Yeah.
So surprisingly, the head of the Claimants is Rashid Nyende, and Rashid Nyende has actually been working with Shoprite for the last 20 years. For the last 15 to 20 years. It may not be 20 years, but for the last decade. Maybe, if I say the last decade, he has been with them.
Yes.
So he has seen Shoprite grow in Uganda, transition in what it has become in the country as well. But for me, I would say we need to give at least have PT, or should we say?
PT
on Shoprite. Well, you see, someone is actually losing out markets, different areas. Now in different countries, Shoprite is closing up. And it is abrupt, because when a company starts collapsing, the signs are always there. And I know even these Ugandans who are there would see. The atmosphere tells you what is happening. Maybe you're just hopeful that it should not happen, because it is where you're getting your income, or the source of income. But every time you're looking at there are some signs that normally show that, hey, this is not something.
This is not something right.
Yes, and at the end of the day, because they are human beings, I do understand there is no there is no notice. But I think even if they are told them we are closing in 1 month's time, they will still have claimed for the money. And I think if you look at the billions, you may find out that maybe they have other things attached to it, because according to the situation, it's like they're demanding also allowances, or you may find out that the last month Shoprite was in business, it did not clear off their dues.
Their dues.
Just maybe because of the fact that Shoprite said we are collapsing, we're getting out of business now. We are selling it out.
I wouldn't sympathize with Shoprite. First of all, because the issue I really have with foreign investors is one thing. It's okay. They let them come in this nation, they can set up the enterprises, but the challenge is profit repatriation. Because when you look at, like last time we had a discussion and we said, when you look at the foreign investments that are in this country, because when you look at the economy of a country, there are two sectors. There is the macro, where we look at the economy at large, and the micro, which deals with individuals' day-to-day spendings. And in most cases, as a government, if you're in place, you should always aim for the micro, because once these people are well off, definitely they'll have money to support any investors that come to bring up.
Yes.
Yeah. But now the challenge is here, is that when these people come in this country, yes, there are so many in this country. But when you look at the micro, when you look at the individuals, because what the impact of those, when those foreigners come, we expect impact, first of all, to the economy, whereby a big percentage of the profits is invested in the economy, and that's the macro economy. And the other, also trying to see a way they can support the micro side, for example, employing people, the local natives. And the challenge we've been finding is that these people exploit our human beings, our Ugandan hardworking men and women. Now that's a challenge.
But you see, most probably the issue they actually say is that in Uganda here, they pay a lot of salary to the Ugandans. But if you look at the outputs, all the, from the Ugandans, vis-a-vis the input, it does not balance. That they pay them a lot of money.
They pay Ugandans too much money.
Too much money. But what they get out of it is less. So most probably, you see Ugandans, once a Ugandan has attended school and they understand they're going to work for a foreign investor, yes, they will sign huge contracts. They know they're going to get this amount of money. So by the time these particular investors try to make auditing and try to see how are their sales turnover, how do they earn, and of what input do these employees put, they actually claim that there is, if you put it on a balancing scale, their input as the investors or the bosses is higher than what their employees offer.
No, but but I can't still blame the employees. You know why? Because, like I said, Shoprite's target is always the corporate world, and when you look at Africa,
but it has the cheapest prices, you know. Yeah,
it has the cheapest prices, but
you can get like what, 800.
They could be cheaper to a certain class. Let me give an example. Because now for us, when we're speaking here, maybe they are cheap to us, but I'm trying to look at a middle, not even a middle, below middle income earners. That's why we're saying Blue Band has been able to stand for all this long, because you find that because you can find even the lowest family, what I can call the lowest family, at least in the house there is a Blue Band.
But you see, the only problem I think is in Uganda is Ugandans fear places, fear big brands.
That's true.
People just fear big brands, because unless when you've been to a place and ask for the menu, mainly if you go to the restaurants, if you look at some of the restaurants in town and some mentions of a brand, and someone actually tells you, I'm actually going to this cafe, this and this, I'm going to have my meal from here. Someone would say, hey, that's a lot of money. But before they actually realize that you're not going to even spend more than 50,000. So that is the same perspective people had with Shoprite. But when you look at the prices of Shoprite and the other supermarkets, when you go there, you'd find that Rinzori water would be at 800, and yet even at the local shops, it is 1,000. And then in most cases, I always ask myself, because for me, I think one of the reasons that's why I would say attributed to the downfall of Shoprite is their prices. They were too low or too cheap for their state, as the supermarket in Shoprite is, according to the brand that we thought it was. Because if you can sell, even when you look at the prices of their beers, the prices of everything about their prices was always cheaper than other supermarkets. It was maybe other products, maybe that were exported directly that were imported directly into the country, that would be more expensive. But those in the local dialect, they are mostly cheaper.
Okay, it may make a certain sense in that perspective, but then let's look at this other side. You've talked about the prices in supermarkets. You know, supermarkets, what makes them really Shoprite? First of all, the reason as why maybe people because me, I may not care about their pricing as they claim it's cheaper than other, because I put it in quotes.
Even in the newspapers, Shoprite and Game always announce we have affordable prices.
Okay, that's affordable according to what they think is affordable. But when I'm thinking for Uganda and what is affordable, I can try to imagine. Now, first of all, the locations of Shoprite. It's too urban, you know, because...
Or is it because a lot of whites always
now,
head to...
I love you've talked about whites now. Now we see...
You see, once you go and see that white people are
going
actually,
to the place.
Or foreigners are flooding
a certain shop.
They would say, that seems to be expensive.
Seems to be expensive. And another thing is that how wish they could get branch, because why I don't sympathize with them and why I don't think it's because of the low prices, it's because of their image, like how people embrace them. It's like they came to this essence that, hey, for us, we are in this kind of a class. Now, the only way they could bow down and come before the people was establishing branches, small Shoprite branches in
different
areas. For example, in my home area where I stay, in Bulenga, find a Shoprite branch. That will make me feel like, oh, Shoprite, okay.
It's around
I will feel like it's affordable.
But it's not there.
But it's not there.
So then that means it's not. And you see, in most cases, because what I know is the charges that come to it, maybe they are targeting more of the urban areas, like you said.
Yeah.
Because even the one in Victoria Mall that is in Entebbe has not stayed for more than 10 years. So it's like 5 years, branch over there. So mainly you would see the branches that have been in place are the ones in Kampala, one in Lugogo, one around, is it Clock Tower?
Clock Tower.
Around Benchiwanuka Street there.
Yeah.
So you could see that as well. But let's first head into a break. We're going to get back and try to finalize this same issue of Shoprite and the 45 former employees of Shoprite Uganda who are claiming of 5.4 billion Ugandan shillings of compensation from the South African retail-based enterprise in Shoprite. And of course, we'll be right back.